Hey folks, ready for a brand new episode of Smack? We'll kick it off right now. Comment everything that you want to tell us down here and show us some love if you like what we do. See you soon.
Hello, my name is Deborah Rothe and I'm the exhibition director of ITB Berlin. And this is my Smack story.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Smack. The ITB is back in physical presence in Berlin from March 7th to March 9th. And for this episode, we spoke to its new exhibition director, Deborah Rothe. Deborah and I discussed what we can expect from the event this year and what learnings the team took from the virtual episodes of the ITB during the pandemic. Enjoy the show. Okay, Deborah, good morning. Thank you for having us at the ITB offices or at the Fairgrounds Berlin offices. Before I start, congratulations are in order. Congratulations on just recently being appointed exhibition director for the ITB. And congratulations on choosing Smack to give your first interview. Two excellent choices in any particular order. But in all seriousness, on behalf of everybody here at Smack, congratulations. It's great to have you on the show. I'm going to start with a very easy one. When you started working for the fairgrounds here in Berlin, for Messe Berlin, did you have any idea what might happen here in the past, let's say, 4 years, including a pandemic, lots of cancelled events, and now a very sudden restart? And tell me a little bit about the restart and how that's kind of been, because I imagine from nothing to everything is quite the restart that probably you and the team haven't done like that before either. So what was that like?
So first of all, I had no idea. I decided to go into that industry because of the live event character, because of meeting people in person, because of having the world here at our exhibition grounds. So what happened was the exact opposite. So we weren't allowed to welcome everyone here. And this is something that you have to first really understand, and you have to adapt, and you have to change your mindset and be open-minded in terms of what a trade show could be as well. So how does it look like if you're not able to have everyone on site? And so what happened was that we as a team, and we are really a close team, so we work together very closely. We are a very tough team, and so we're a generation mixture, I would say. We have people in the team who are working for ITB Berlin over 30 years, or Messe Berlin over 30 years, so they have a high expertise. And we have people that are only here for like 4 weeks or 8 weeks, so it's a high mixture. And it was, for us, it was sure that we have to do something. So when Corona kicked in and everything changed, and we knew, okay, now we are not going to have that ITB Berlin for the next year or maybe just month. We didn't know. Nobody knew what Corona would have an impact on. So we decided to open our minds and to find a solution how to come back to our main assets of ITB Berlin. So what is a trade show about? What is the main asset? What is the purpose for people to attend ITB Berlin? And of course, it is the personal character, and it is meeting people. But at the end, it's about business. It's about bringing together supply and demand. It's about the networking character, and it's about education, know-how transfer and exchanging. So this was our aim, and this was our focus then. So we tried to find a way to bring all these parts online, because this was the only way that we had the chance to get in touch with our community. And so ITB Berlin Now came up, and it was a challenge for everyone. It was a challenge for us, and it was a challenge for our community, and we know that. But it was important for us to learn and to find out what limit we have in terms of digitalization of trade shows. And so it was a challenging phase, but it was a good phase. But however, we are so happy and so glad that we can now come back to our main business and having everyone here on site. And this is the restart character that we have. I always compare it to the shift of working and in the office that had to be changed to mobile office, because it's kind of the same. We are talking about meetings, holding meetings, about networking, and this is what you do in your daily business. Normally at work, you're not only writing emails, you're also holding meetings online now.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for I would say for us at Messe Berlin, but I think it's also for the whole, like for Germany, it was for the whole world. It was really hard to change from personal meetings into business online meetings.
Yeah.
And this was happened for us as well. And now you can feel and you can see and you hear it also in the meetings with people that everyone is just waiting for a meeting in person again. And it happens already. That's good. And we are so glad that we have it here in the next weeks.
Sounds good. Walk me through what we can expect from this year then, from the fair. Before we started the recording, you said there might be some changes. There might be some things that you'll do different this year. Give me a sales pitch of like 2 minutes and tell me the details of what it's going to be like. What are you expecting? What can the consumers expect that visit or the trade show attendees? And maybe compare that as well with the last one, which was, effectively March 2009, which seems like 2 centuries ago. How has that changed? Because you've seen the process of 19, and you've seen now this coming up here.
So first of all, the most important change or significant change is that we are B2B pure ITB Berlin. So this is the biggest change that we've made based on several communication during the past years, especially before COVID already. So this is not something new for us, but I would say we are bold to do that because, of course, it's a discussion, and but we are happy to do that. And with that in mind, we have some new products on site, so new services to make the most out of it. Because now we know there's one target; it's B2B only. We don't have the public again. And with this, we, for example, try to focus on the main asset, the meetings. So we extended the options to hold meetings on site, especially for everyone. So you're not only as an exhibitor that you have a base, you also can have meeting spots on site as trade visitor, as media, and so on. So we have business lounges on site, besides to the exhibition stands, where you can book your meeting tables on an hourly basis. So if you're holding meetings or you're preparing for meetings or working, you can just book a table and that's it. So
how do I do that? Can I decide on the day, or do I have to send you an email personally? Should we throw out your email address? Because
so I'm always happy to get an email from you, of course.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
No, of course we have an online shop for that. So it's a meeting table shop, and you can you can just choose the slot you want to have on a specific day and at a specific date. So and we have 4 spots on site, so you can decide whether you want to be in Hub 27, in Hall 20, Hall 6. So we have several ones because we know that ITB is huge. It's a complex ecosystem, I just say. And so it's a good service, I think, and we'll try it. We will try it, and we will see if it fits the demand. And that's the first thing I think is most important. Then we also have observed that our customers, especially our exhibitors, do need stages. They do need a place where they can spread the word. And besides to the representation and the business, of course, at the booth, they need stages to present their products, to also send a message and to tell a story. And this is what we want to focus on much more in the future. We are doing this already. We do have a new stage, which is called ITB Lighthouse Stage in Hall 4.1, where we also have the adventure travel and so on. And there we have slots for exhibitors to just go on stage and present their products. And this is, I think, very important because it's besides to the ITB Berlin convention, where we have more the, content-wise, we have more content from ITB Berlin and its partners. And there we have more the pitch-based content.
Okay. How long have you been with Messe Berlin, if I may ask?
You did your research, right?
I did my research very well, yeah.
So with Messe Berlin, it's like 12 years this year. But with ITB Berlin, it's about more than 8 years. So it's my 9th ITB.
Tell me your all-time favorite ITB Berlin moment.
I think it's because of the emotions and the adrenaline that I've never felt before like this. It was my first ITB Berlin.
Okay.
It was ITB Berlin 2015. And it was the opening ceremony because it was Mongolia, and it was just like impressive. I was so, overwhelmed by everything. It was a tough time beforehand because the preparations are so tough, month before. And then you go to that opening ceremony and everyone is there. Everyone is just happy to be there and is like, handshaking and everything. And it's
Things
so
are coming together.
Yes. And you see that. You actually see that. Yeah. I mean, that's the I would say magic of trade shows. If you're an organizer, that finally it comes to the product itself, and you see what you have prepared for the whole time. And this is so important for us. And so, if it's not happening, this is something that changes something in you, like thinking of 2020.
Very cool. Walk me through a day of the exhibition director ITB Berlin. Let's say 2 weeks before the event, 3 days before the event, and during the ITB. What does your day look like? Because I imagine for somebody attending the event, you show up to the event, it's all organized, there's a ticket, you scan it, you walk in, you have your stand, there's a stand plan. I don't think very many people think about the efforts that goes in, and I realize it's not just you. You just said before we started recording, there's 30 plus people in if we count everybody in the team that work on this, and they all contribute. But what does your day specifically look like? 2 weeks, 3 days, and during the event?
So 2 weeks before, we are still in our offices. So basically, but I think it's for all the other parts you've mentioned. The first thing in the morning is I grab my coffee and I just go through the offices and talk to my people, because I think the team is the most important thing in every part of your work. So and I love to be in exchange with my team, because then I know what's happening right now, what are the challenges, what is going good, and where do we have to work on today, what's happening. And after that, I'm basically in meetings the whole time. So it's about personal meetings. So it's a people's business. So that's also my role in that case. I'm in contact with the people. I'm exchanging. I'm planning. I'm doing everything the whole day. And right now, I'm on a lot of interviews, so I'm happy to give some insights about ITB Berlin, mostly. And
some interviews are obviously more fun than others. I mean,
of course. Sure. I mean, SMAC, it's outstanding.
Yes,
of course.
Right up there. Yeah, for sure.
No, I like that. I mean, ITB Berlin is a huge brand,
Sure.
and I'm happy to represent it as an exhibition director. And so together with the whole team, I'm always in contact with our customers, with our partners. And so that's my main business. And 3 days before the event, we already switched to our trade show management office, so which is basically directly on the exhibition ground. It's in the Marshall House. Yeah. I don't know if you heard about it.
I've been there. Yes.
Yes, yeah. It's beautiful.
It's very nice.
It is. And we are sitting there all together, which makes it much more cooler. I would say it's just dynamic. It's easy to talk. It's short ways, and I love that. I love that being here, because then you really feel the adrenaline. You feel the character of a trade show already. And this is where I'm preparing everything for the exact trade show time. And during the trade show, I'm on the fairground the whole time. So I'm visiting our key accounts, I'm visiting partners, I'm visiting our host country, for example, which is, besides, it's my client for over 6 years now. So that's why I'm also connected to them. There's a personal connection. Yeah. Yes. Okay. It's great. It's especially there are so many great women working for that national tourism organization. So I'm so empowered by them. Yeah. And that's mainly my doing the whole time. So I'm on the run the whole time, but I love it.
Very good. You just said something that I did want to talk about, and it's a very touchy topic for two reasons. First of all, because I'm not sure how much we should still talk about it, because I feel like we've gotten to a point where it should become the norm that your gender really doesn't matter. If you're good at your job, then go ahead and do it, right? So I think there's an argument there. Should we really necessarily mention it? But I do want to ask, obviously you can't see Deborah now, ladies and gents, but she is certainly younger than you would expect maybe for an exhibition director. So tell me, being a woman and being your age, which you will have to accept this compliment, is relatively young for the role that you have accomplished. What has it been like going through the ranks for you, and not just internally, because I realize the empowerment internally must have been good, otherwise you would not be in the position you're in, right? But also being accepted by, you know, key accounts, like you said, people that you have to deal with in interviews, in meetings, and so on and so forth. And walk me through a little bit, not necessarily just the bad experiences, and I'm sure you have a story or two to tell as well, where you were like, you know, what, how the hell, why would you go down that route? But also some of the good experiences maybe, and has it become easier maybe to go this route now than it was 5 or 10 years ago? Has it been the same? What's your experience been like?
So I think there might be a difference between a company like Messe Berlin and the private sector, I would say, because at Messe Berlin, of course, we do have, like, historically people in these positions that are older than me, that have more experience, that maybe also got some experience outside of Messe Berlin, because I am like a Messe Berliner, I would say. I'm a Berliner and a Messe Berliner.
You're a real
because
one.
I am.
Yeah.
And so I got all my experience inside this company, and I always was so everyone was very supportive and was seeing something in me, and I'm happy about that, of course, because it got me here. And it is, I would say, my age is not that topic if I would be in the public sector, because you see so many people in such responsible roles over 30 or like 30-ish. So that's,
she looks like
me.
20, but I'm
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Yeah. That's why my age is nothing I'm really talking about normally, because I think that should be normal, you know?
Is gender more a topic than age still, in your opinion? Or is it both the same?
I think that especially in the trade show industry, it's normal. So we have so many women in the trade show.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Berlin, because, you know, we have to, because it is where the ITB takes place. You're from the city, so I feel like I'm talking to an expert. Some things have changed since last ITB in the city. We have a somewhat functional airport that on a good day does its job. There's been some changes, structural changes to the city. Where do you feel Berlin is right now in like an international comparison? I'm sure, and I don't want to turn this into another boring interview, and I'm sure you're going to give thousands before the ITB, but I'm sure one of the questions you must get a lot is, how does the destination of Berlin as a fairground destination, as an exhibition destination, rank with, and I imagine you want to compare yourself with cities like London, like, you know, some of the big kahunas in Europe, certainly. Where do you feel Berlin is? What is room for improvement? Do we need at least 4 airports around the city to have international relevance? What's your take on the current stand of Berlin?
To me, Berlin is still the hotspot, and Berlin is a city that is booming, and we always say that here is where the heartbeat beats, you know. And I'm sure that Berlin will be one of the main cities for trade shows, especially in Germany, but also in Europe and worldwide. So we do have a great connection to the airport. It's getting much better now because we have a direct connection with the train. And we do have so many international arrivals in Berlin. So the new airport was a huge project, and I think I'm not in the position to
argue with that. Yeah,
yes, sure. However, as a Berliner, I miss Airport Tegel, of course. Yeah. It was perfect. It was actually perfect also for business trips because it was directly inside the city, and I'm personally living like. Yeah, it is a big distance between the airport and my hometown. So I'm always going on business trips from the Berlin Exhibition Center because there's a direct connection. So yes, I think Berlin has the chance to being compared to other international airports. There is some room of opportunities, let's say like that, but. Yeah, it's still, Berlin has a character. Berlin is a great city, and it's huge, and it's so diverse, and so has a great cultural exchange and cultural diversity. And so, I think we're on a good way.
We're in a good spot. Okay. I cannot do this interview with you without asking about the ITB after parties. Now, I've gotten so many when we finalized the date of doing the recording this morning, I've gotten so many messages from people, because we obviously talked about this internally in the team as well, that said, can we please ask about some of the after parties? Now, I don't want to get all the details from you here and all the secrets, but walk me through ITB as an event as a whole. And I think we can agree that the after parties, whether they take place at the stands or at event locations throughout the city, are an integral part of the ITB experience for one reason or another. How do you guys at the ITB, is there an official ITB after party for you and the team? Does things like that happen? We want the details.
So, yes.
Or are you too exhausted at the end and just lie flat in bed?
No. We're still on this high adrenaline level.
Yeah.
So yes, we do have. It's called ITB Farewell.
Okay.
We do need that actually at the end, because it's just to come together again at the end and just celebrating what happened right now, because it's like 11 months of preparations, and so I'm always so proud of everyone. That we did this, that we managed this huge ITB Berlin complex ecosystem. But at the end, it's one show that happened, and the people were able to arrive, and the people were able to celebrate and to do business. And so this is something you can be proud of, and I'm happy to celebrate it also with the team. And yes, of course, we do have several events at the stands and outside of the exhibition halls, and we are in exchange with our customers who always invite us as well.
Sure.
So we're happy to go there as well. So I think ITB Berlin is very efficient, and it's a business platform. However, it's also a huge family party. We always say it's a family gathering, and what is life without partying? Right?
Sure, agreed. Out of curiosity, so the ITB this year is from Tuesday to Thursday, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How many hours of sleep do you reckon you're going to get between Tuesday and Thursday evening? So that's 2 nights. So it's Tuesday to Wednesday, where you could potentially get some sleep, and Wednesday to Thursday, where you could potentially get some sleep. What's your educated guess on how many hours you will get?
Well, it depends on the after show party.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
That I'm going. No, normally, so sleep is very important to me. So,
okay.
I'm trying to manage to get at least 5 hours of sleep, I would say. So, yes.
10 hours. So 10 hours.
10 hours would be great. That would be awesome.
Okay. We'll make sure to follow up on that one. Let me go back to the event, Deborah, and let's talk about a little bit about what can be expected this year and in a little bit more detail. And I specifically want to talk about 2 things. First of all, we got a very interesting question beforehand that I wanted to ask, and I wanted to see if you were willing to share this with us. Who had the biggest stand ever in your ITB history experience, including this year? And what was that stand like? Is there something that comes to mind where you say, that was a huge stand?
When it comes to ITB Berlin, there are so many huge stands, especially when you're just like a small person like me. However, I would say the most impressive, or maybe most diverse one, I would say. It was very creative because it was of Emirates.
Okay.
And Emirates built up this great kind of, what was it? It was like a ball. It was like a huge ball where you could go inside and you could explore the different classes, airline classes, like business class, like first class, and so on. So you can actually experience what you're going to. You could sit in. You could experience the product, which is so hard in terms of when it comes to travel, because normally at trade shows you have like products and you can just showcase them and everyone can touch it or feel it or whatever. When it comes to travel, we know that it's hard to make it like, tangible, and experienceable. And so that was really good. That was great because it was, it was creative, it was new, it was something that you could actually experience and touch. Yeah.
Do you get a chance, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, but do you get a chance actually to see every single stand and be honest with me?
I'm trying, I would say.
Okay, because it's how many fair halls do you fill with ITB?
So based on 2019, we had 40 halls.
Crazy.
40, yes. Over 160,000 square meters.
Yeah.
So this is, that's huge. It's a lot to walk.
And is it going to be the same this year? Is it going to be a little bit more condensed this year? What is the anticipation?
It will be, so we have on the exhibition ground, we have this so-called Funkturm Innenring, which are the halls nearby the Funkturm. Mm-hmm. And these are under construction right now. However, we found a way to put them into the new Hub 27. So they moved to Hub 27, which is over 10,000 square meters. So we managed to put them inside here. And so we're almost the same size. So it's like 90% of 2019.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Let's talk about the whole idea of setting up a stand at ITB Berlin. So let's assume all the paperwork is done. We've booked our stand and so on and so forth. Can you walk somebody that's never experienced the whole setup to the final product of a stand? And I realize you're not you work for the ITB and not for the client side, but walk me through the process that you've experienced, because it's a lot of work from the empties, because the space that you give to the clients is literally empty. There is nothing there. There's no water, there's no electricity, there is nothing there per se, right? How does it work then to see the final product? And let's take Emirates as an example again, to build a stand like that. What are the steps? When do they start? Because I think the general conception sometimes is, okay, if it starts on a Tuesday, everybody shows up on Monday, builds it, and then off we go on Tuesday. That's not quite how it works. Walk me through that process.
Okay, so first of all, it's very important to have a marketing firm if you're not having it inside your company. So you need to have a campaign for that kind of representation. If you're not having it, you should go ahead and find someone very quickly. And then I think the most important thing then is the stand construction. So you need to find a stand construction company that is going to build your stand, because it takes time to get all the materials and so on, and to actually build a design. So that's what's going to happen very quickly. And after that, you're like allocating your stuff. You're preparing, of course, online. So, for example, you have to also edit your profile at ITB Explore. We have an online platform where you can also, just represent your company on a digital level, and put in your contact people. Try to network already, and try to schedule your meetings. That's very important as well. So get in touch with people and be prepared, because the preparation is the most important thing before you're actually traveling to Berlin and to come to the trade show, because when you're on site, you don't have any time to do your research. You have to do it in advance. And so, you have this production part with the stand construction, and then you have the preparations on your side regarding meetings and so on.
And when do people start, or when do you open up the fairgrounds for the stand construction gang that comes and builds the stand? Does this happen 2 days before, 2 weeks before? When does this start?
Yeah, so the official part starts about 1 week beforehand. So this is where the clients come on the fairground. We actually start like 3 days beforehand as well. So it's like 10 days before we are starting to, we say it. How do you say it in English? We say in German, it's a nice word. It's aufschnüren.
Yeah.
So we are aufschnüren the halls. We untie the halls.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And after that, the people are coming on the exhibition grounds, and the stand constructors start constructing. And this is about 7 days beforehand. Yes. And it takes so much time, because if you're having a stand with about 1,500 square meters
and height,
with the upper story, right?
Yeah.
Then it just takes time, because you need to construct everything. You have a static, you have to get it checked as well. So 1 day beforehand, we have an approval, and the technical department is literally going to each stand and check whether it's okay, whether it's approved, it's safe, really, because the safety of our participants is the most important thing, of course. Sure. And so,
Wow, crazy to see from an outside perspective, because all most fair trade show visitors see is the finished product, right? And then they leave by Thursday the latest, and they don't see the deconstruction either. Let's talk about the marketing, Deborah. And I imagine something like ITB Berlin has a massive marketing ecosystem, as you called it before, behind it. Can you walk me through some of the things that you guys do around the world? I would imagine. I realize there's different ITBs. I was fortunate enough to be at ITB Asia back in 2013, 17, I think, in Singapore at the time. Can you explain to me that the whole ITB ecosystem, because there really is a lot more, with all due respect, than just ITB Berlin. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, so ITB as a brand has its mothership, which is ITB Berlin. And then we have 3 other shows. So we have ITB Asia, which was established in 2008. So we started in Singapore. Then we have a team which is working there. We have a team in China, in Shanghai, for ITB China. And we have the same team from ITB Asia working for ITB India, which is going to be held in Mumbai in April. So we do work with its own teams for each trade show, because it's very important to know the market and to, react very quickly. And we do have our own marketings as well. Like here at ITB Berlin, for example, we have 2 people in our team which are handling all the marketing stuff. So it's our ITB Berlin marketing crew, we say. Yeah. And then we have, of course, a centralized marketing team of Messe Berlin. Sure. But we inside the team are handling the whole ITB Berlin stuff. And they are working closely with the marketing teams of the other ITBs.
How important is the international expansion for a gang like yours here? Because the brand of ITB is very strong. I think we can all agree on that. Not just because we're in the city, but also around the globe. And then why specifically choose these destinations? With Asia and being Singapore, with China being Shanghai and Mumbai. Is it because you feel like those are particularly interesting countries in terms of the tourism, in terms of potential? And are there other destinations on the horizon that we can leak right now?
So actually we get so many requests about having an ITB in a specific country, and we are always evaluating if it makes sense to go there, if we can get the best out of it for the country as well. However, we are always focusing on the most emerging markets in that specific time spot. And Asia was always a really growing market, and especially China, where we started in 2017. And I was glad to contribute to that as well. So I went there and we built it up together as a team. And for ITB India, it's almost the same. So unfortunately, we hadn't the chance to hold it until this year. So it's the first ITB India in person. We had a digital version, but we never had it in person. And India is it's a growing market right now. It takes some more time, but it is. And there's so much digital expertise in that market. And in terms of digitalization of the travel industry, there can be a lot coming up in the next few years. So yeah, that's the main focus that we have.
Very cool. I imagine as the exhibition director of ITB Berlin, somewhere in your working contract it says you need to travel a lot and see the world and so on and so forth. So I was wondering if you might tell us, for somebody like you who is in the business of showcasing destinations in a variety of ways, and you've already mentioned your love for Georgia, can you tell me 2 destinations that, whether it was your personal travel or your business travel experience, 2 destinations that stuck in your head particularly, and why? See, this is how we show that it's not scripted. She had no idea this question was coming.
Well, yeah, I have to think about it, because to me, the world is just beautiful. And there are so many countries that I was able to explore already, and I just loved it. And there are so many upcoming that I'm trying to visit. I would say that Canada is one of my favorite ones. I had the chance to go to Vancouver and also go to business school there for a short time, unfortunately, but it was for a short time. And it's so beautiful because it's so diverse, and you have like everything. You have the nature, you have the city buzz, you have everything in there. And the people are amazing. That just came up to my mind right away. And on the other hand, I would say there is, it's Europe. I have to say Europe, because I admire that Europe is so colorful, that there's so many cities and countries to explore in just one continent. And that we have the chance to explore it right away, because it's so easy to move between these countries. And if you want to go skiing, you go to like Austria, or you go to France, actually, to the Alps, to Italy. If you want to go to the beach, you go like to the southern part of Spain or Portugal or anything like that. If you want to have like northern lights, you go to the northern part of Europe. So you have everything here, and this is something that I just love to explore.
And I think sometimes as Europeans we forget how fortunate we are that we can do all of that within the time span of an hour flight or 2 hour flight, whatever it may be, right? There's other countries that have to fly 11, 12 hours to see what we can see in 1 or 2. So I think that I like that answer a lot. I cannot leave you because just like that 45 minutes have passed. And we do have a couple of questions that we always like to ask at the end. So I was wondering if you would share your top 2 what the fuck moments, as we like to call them, where things went horribly wrong, or where you just stood there and thought, how the hell did this just happen? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad experience. It can be an absolutely spectacularly good experience. I will exclude the adrenaline rush of your first ever ITB because you already gave us that answer at the beginning. But there must be some events where, or some situations where you sat there and thought, there's no way right now that this actually just happened. And as much as I believe, and I really do believe that you have a very homogeneous team and it works very well, there must be some times where you sit there and you think, ugh, this is really, and maybe not just because of the team or because of the team, but maybe because a client's been particularly annoying, because they do tend to do that sometimes. Is there anything that comes to mind where you literally sat there and thought, ugh, really don't need this on a Tuesday evening?
Well,
without naming any names and
yes,
without calling anybody out.
Of course. So there is a story. It's not during ITB Berlin. It was during the first show of ITB China, actually. And I think that my colleague, when she hears it, she will laugh because we were together in that moment. Yeah. And it was a perfect moment for a flexible project manager, I would say.
Very for a flexible project manager.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah.
It's the core business of ours. So it was the ribbon cutting of ITB China. I don't know if you know about the ribbon cutting ceremony. It's very official, and you have the most important people on site, and they have to cut this ribbon correct to open the show. And we were responsible for it. And unfortunately, in the morning when it should start like in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, there was no ribbon. And it was the most important thing that we should have at that moment. And normally it's just beautiful. It's like this red string with a very flower, very thick, very, high quality. It's great. It looks perfect on all the pictures and videos that we will have taken. And so what we did was that we tried to improvise, and we took these, in Germany we say Tensatoren, which is just like for separating areas from each other. It's like, it's red, and it was perfect. Yeah. And you have these
you have it at the airport sometimes as well.
You have it at the airport, yes, you know that.
Fixed lanes and everything.
Right, these ones. And they were just standing around, and we were like, okay, we have to do something. Let's take these ones. And we just put them in front of the people. And everyone was like, okay, what's happening right now? And so they had to cut this one.
And did they manage to cut it?
They managed to cut it. The problem is actually that when you cut it, it flips.
It flips out.
And yes.
Oh my God.
It was funny. It was really hard at the moment, but in the end it worked.
Now we can laugh about
it. And the people who were involved, they still kept these little parts of the ribbon. Yeah. And so it's funny. We always have something to talk about now.
Good. Before I let you go, I have to grab my phone, which you cannot see, but I had a very fun email exchange with your boss, David. And I told you briefly about this before we started the recording. And he sends his very best, first of all. And he gave me 2 topics to ask you, so we can get a little bit of insight of what because most people will know you as the exhibition director and in your professional setup. I need to talk to you about your gospel choir experience, because I heard some news. So tell me a little bit about Deborah's gospel choir experience, and is that something you still do, and why does David mention this to me in an email?
I would say nobody wants to hear me singing.
Okay.
Not anymore. Maybe
back in the day.
Back in the day, right? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the gospel choir thing was something in my younger
years?
Younger years,
So maybe
yeah.
2 years ago, basically.
Would be great. No, it's more like 15 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just like initiative of my school, and they offered this youth gospel choir project, and I just liked it because I love singing. I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Some of them do it pretty well, and I'm not. But at that time, it was just fun. It was great being around with people, and so yeah.
What is the top of your playlist right now?
The top is Mind Over Matters of Young the Giant.
Okay, very good.
Love that.
Very good. And then another thing, and this is clearly David's doing, so I will take no responsibilities here. Tell me a little bit about your sailing endeavors. So let me rephrase it. If you're not dealing with ITB, great clients, annoying clients, your team, and are not on the fairgrounds, what does a day on the water look like in terms of sailing? Big boats, small boats, big oceans, small oceans?
I can tell you about my last trip to Croatia together with my partner. We did a sailing trip on the Adria, which was just incredible because we had a so-called yacht, you would say. It's a Bavaria. It's like a sailing boat with a motor and with an engine. And we had like 2 weeks just by ourselves on the water, and it was like so refreshing and so inspiring, and we had time for us, and it was great.
And is it good to have that sometimes, because you just said it halfway through the recording, it's a people business and people can be yay and nay, right? Is it sometimes good to shut that out and have quietness and peace?
Yes, it is.
For sure, right?
It is, yeah. I'm an explorer. I love to be around. I love to be around people, but I also love to be around just by myself and explore and discover the world just by myself. Yes.
Very good. It was a breath of fresh air speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time. We will share the news that ITB is back, and I'm sure the world will hear. And I will come back to you at the end of ITB and see how we did with the 10 hours of sleep, if that actually happened. Good luck to you and the team when the time comes, hosting everybody back to the city. And we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Bert.
That's it for this episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to share your thoughts on this episode and everything else that is going on at SMAC with us by checking out our website at smac.media or connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the show as we did it. More to see and watch right here. Click here and show us some love. See you soon. Bye.